it's Dr. Parikh, and this is week 2. So first of all, yay, you're surviving week 1. Hopefully you're watching this in the middle of week 1 to get ready for module 2. So this week, you're really focused on reading, understanding, and learning how to take notes on your articles. You're also still kind of trying to figure out APA style, both how to cite when you're taking notes and also how to format your reference list. So let's look at your to-dos. So here we're in Module 2 on Blackboard, and you want to look at your readings and resources first. Over here I show, so you're still reading a little bit of that guide. You're reading several chapters of Writing with Style, and you can see it's not a really thick book. In the back, 20 or 30 pages or so are exercises that we don't do in class. You can thank the first section of this class I ever taught who did those, and at the end told me how much work they were, and I was like, oh, I would have stopped that a long time ago if you'd told me how much work, how much time you were putting into that. So anyway, you skip, the last bit of it. So even though you're reading a lot right now, you're going to run out of material. You will reread some of these chapters near the end because you will grow so much even in these 7 weeks that you will experience the chapter. You'll get something new from them. But rereading is very different from trying to read for the first time. And you'll look through some more of the APA style. Again, I've made a playlist over on YouTube. Make sure that you're signed in just so that you have a record that you've watched them. If you choose to do that, just in case. I mean, maybe 1 out of 100 students, I look at that sort of thing. But just in case, it's good to have some record that you watch them, because it's easy. YouTube will keep track for you. The bolded ones are the ones that have to do with the readings, so I suggest watching those before doing your reading circles post. The rest focuses more on APA style, and so these honestly, so the APA style, just kind of watch whenever. They're usually fairly short. It's good to pull up the templates while you have those up, just to kind of see how it works, but remember that the template is in Google Docs. These are in Microsoft Word, so some of the settings are going to work a little bit differently. But then the main kinds of videos you're going to be watching from here on out are going to be focused on specific steps or specific assignments. And so those you can often watch when you're ready to sit down and work on the assignment. Maybe not do the whole assignment, but spend maybe half an hour, get a start, and then figure out how much more time you're going to need. Some assignments you can knock out in half an hour or less. Some of them are going to take you quite a bit longer. The biggest focus in my mind of this week is learning how to read and take notes. And that happens in a couple steps. So let's come over and we can look. So I went all the way back to the modules. Now I'm going into learning activities. I need to pull in the rest of my learning activities for this week. That's good for me to know. So yours should look different. But I wanted to pop over to the literature review anyway, because this is where you can see. So if you look under the literature review or research proposal, depending on what part of the class we're in, you can look and see exactly the descriptions of what's due. So you already booked your tutoring, and you're going to attend at least once. You'll do your reference page. You're also going to do what I call a writing sample. And you can go into the template. I might fix that so it just jumps right to the page. But really, I want you to try 2 paraphrases. So you'll put the original, your paraphrase, and then I want to just structure you thinking about whether your paraphrase was good. Because what I'm finding is a lot of students aren't sure the basics of how to write a paraphrase, how to put someone's ideas into their own words. And many students really benefit from some one-on-one time and feedback with that. So for all my classes, not just for my online class, you're also going to meet with someone at the Writing Center. The other reason I do this is that students are often shocked at how helpful the Writing Center is, not just for finding where their commas are wrong, but for helping them think about how to organize their paper and even how to think about the ideas and the stuff that they're reading. So I want you to go as early as possible. You may just go the 2 times I require for the class. You may go 10 times during the class. It's up to you. As you lose points if you don't go at least twice, but that's otherwise up to you. So you get points. You don't need to get a signature or anything when you go. You don't need to keep a record if you meet online. What I'm looking for is for you to just write up, and I give you 150 words is just to give you a sense of what length I'm thinking. If you're at 1:30, I'm not going to dock points, but it's just to help you so you know about, I'm not looking for a 5-page paper, but I'm not looking for 2 sentences either. And I give you some questions. You don't have to answer each of these, but if you're not sure what you want to say about it, you could go through those, and that should help you just structure your thinking on it. And then you'll do your first article notes. Let's see. So I'm realizing the way I have it, the timing scheduled, is that you could theoretically, you could go to tutoring after you write your sample. It's probably best if you go to tutoring before you turn in your final assignment. I think just as far as the timing went, I didn't want to cramp you too much to getting into the Writing Center or into online tutoring. So I recommend you go to tutoring before Wednesday, but I'm not going to require your reflection until Sunday. And when you do your notes, hopefully you'll do them on the same article that you were doing your paraphrase writing sample on. And it's completely fine and expected and encouraged that you take the work you did for that sample and put it into your article notes. That's how most of the assignments work in this class. The work you do for earlier assignments is really to prepare you for later assignments, so you can just keep both of these paraphrases might even end up in your final paper with very few changes. So it's a lot of work and a lot of assignments, but it does build. As a reminder, I don't take late work in this course because there's just too many assignments. We're moving too fast, and it creates too many issues for me, and I think it can create issues for some students. I think everybody benefits from firm deadlines in this course. But instead, you notice if you miss 1 or 2 assignments, typically it's not going to really change your final grade that much. Now, if you blow off, let's say you don't do any of the discussion posts, that's going to really tank your grade. But if you miss 1 or 2 one week, you got busy, you got sick, you had, your boss asked you to work late, whatever happened, 1 or 2 is not going to kill your grade. Those are also just double check if some things, I think I know what happened. Let me exit the student preview. Because I have things set so that if you have not gotten your good score, your 10 out of 10 or more on the APA Quiz 1, the plagiarism quiz, you cannot see the assignments from Module 2. That's how I get your attention to make sure that you actually do it. So let's go in and see if I forgot to put them in. Nope, they're all here. So remember before when I said, hey, if, I forgot to do this, I have to go in and do this. So if you go into weekly modules, Unit 2, learning activities, and all you see are the discussion posts, that means you need to go in and make sure that you have this plagiarism quiz finished. If you are not sure, so every time, if you turn in a quiz, I grade it and you don't get full credit for your answer, I will give you detailed feedback in Blackboard, and there's videos showing you how to get to that feedback. I will typically also email you to make sure that you see that feedback. And I will tell you exactly what I want to see changed to get full credit next time. This is, I'm not trying to trick anyone with this quiz. I just want to make sure that we are on the same page of what plagiarism is, because students come into college with a lot of misconceptions. Sometimes students think that if they cite, they don't need quotation marks, which is not true. If you're taking word for word, you always need quotation marks and a citation. Similarly, students think that if they've put things completely into their own words, they don't need a citation. You still need to cite where the ideas came from. And it's a good thing. Citations make your paper stronger. You want lots of them. Quotes, however, make it seem, when there's more than 1 or 2 quotes in a paper, it seems like you didn't really understand the material, or you're not confident as a writer. Those may be true. If that's the case, get to the Writing Center. They are awesome. So if you see this screen when you look at learning activities, go back, do the quiz. And if you're stuck on the quiz, at this point, definitely email me. We can even take the quiz together, either in person or over the phone or video chat. Office hours are great times for that, but if you need to set up a special time, contact me as soon as possible and suggest several times that could work. because this is urgent. You need to get it in quickly or you're going to fall behind. Because if you miss assignments, they're just gone. I'm just not, it's not feasible for me to go back. So if, let's say you missed the reference page and the writing sample because you don't have your APA quiz done, typically, unless you are like literally were admitted to the hospital, there's not much I'm going to do, because like I keep saying, it's just not manageable for me in this particular course to take any late work. But hopefully this week, the amount of reading is still a little high, and you're going to be, do not underestimate how long it's going to take you to read these articles. It takes me 2 to 3 hours, and I have a lot more experience than you do. So make sure that you're budgeting at least 2 to 3 hours, probably more, just for reading and understanding. You'll probably need to read it twice. But I've slowed this course down compared to the way I used to teach it. I've slowed it down in the beginning, and then the end moves a little faster than it used to. But I think that beginning time really gives you enough time to focus and digest. But still expect you're going to probably spend 20 hours on this course this week, which is the expectation for an online 3-credit accelerated course. I think your timing will probably go down a little for most students as we move on, especially after the next week. But for this week, really, there is a lot of reading, even though it doesn't look like it up here. Right? Happy writing. Bye-bye.